Hi, I'm Slavik with iDrinkCoffee.com. Today I'm presenting the Profitec Drive. The Drive replaces the Profitec Pro 700, which is a very well-respected and well-received machine. The machine is a dual boiler machine with a rotary pump, so it can be plumbed in or run as a pour-over. It has PID control over both boilers and an E61 group head. The Drive has a number of upgrades over the Pro 700 that make it an even more compelling machine and an even better value. I'm going to go over those upgrades and tell you how the Drive is different from its predecessor, the Pro 700. I'm going to go over all of the features of this machine, show you how to use it, and then we're going to pull some shots. So first, let me tell you what's upgraded on the Drive versus the Pro 700. The first thing that we notice right away is, of course, the flow control. The Drive comes standard with the Profitec Flow Control Drive. Now you may ask, what is flow control? Flow control is a mechanical valve that allows you to control the rate of flow of the water coming from the pump. While every machine has some sort of flow restrictor, or jiggler sometimes as it's called in the industry, most of them are static, meaning that they have a set opening, whether that's 0.8, 1 millimeter, 1.2, what have you, it can't be changed. What the flow control does, it allows you to adjust that opening and restrict the flow or allow it to go further, and that allows you to manipulate your coffee to get new and exciting flavors from your espresso. Alongside with the flow control, of course, there's the manometer. That's a pressure gauge that measures the pressure during your extraction. Goes from 0 to 10 bars. It's got this really neat kind of reddish orange color. I think it looks really sharp. And that goes together with the other aesthetic improvements that the Drive has over the Pro 700. You have this cup rail, which is now black. It gives you this nice little black accent. And the PID has also been improved. The PID, not just from an aesthetic point of view, because I do think that this is lower profile and more attractive, but it also has a lot more features, which I'll go into in a little bit. Also now standard on the Drive, which we didn't see on the Pro 700, is the joystick-style steam and hot water wands. So these are instant on and instant off. The Pro 700, of course, had the rotary-style knobs. Some of the other features of the Profitec Drive are, of course, the dual manometers. So you have pressure gauges. The one on the left is your boiler pressure. I currently have it set to about 1.6 bars. However, if you max out the steam temperature, you can bring that up close to 2 bars, so you get a lot of steaming power. The one on the right is the gauge that measures the pump pressure. That's going to be at 0 anytime the pump is off if the machine is not plumbed in. Once I begin extracting, it will go up to whatever the pump is set to. Behind here, underneath the cup tray, we have the water tank. It's a 2.8 liter water tank, and again, you can use this machine either as a pour over machine, meaning you bring water to it, or you can hook it up to your water line and plumb it in, and then you don't have to worry about your cold water supply. Down here we have the cup riser, and this is if you're using maybe smaller cups, espresso sized cups, just to get it a little bit closer to the spouts to lose less heat. And of course it's removable if you have a larger cup, like a larger cappuccino cup or maybe a to-go cup. You do have this option. This does come in the box. It's quite handy. The drip tray on the Drive is a low profile drip tray. It comes out very easily, and one feature I like that Profitec has been including in some of their newer machines is this little storage area here. I have my blind basket in here, but it fits any 58 millimeter basket. It's kind of a neat little place to store your blind basket when you get those reminders, of course, to clean your machine. Now let me talk about some of the new features that are in the PID. So this is a completely new PID. It's much more advanced than the previous one. Has a number of new features. And the way you go into the menu is by holding 2 buttons together, and then you're presented with a menu. The first option is brew temperature. And in order to change the brew temperature, we press the right button, which you'll see is the check mark, and we immediately see the temperature setting. Now you don't have a lot of time. You press minus, of course, to lower the temperature. You see here I'm going down, or I press plus to raise the temperature. I'm going to leave it, well, actually I'm going to change it down to 90. And then after you have your temperature set, you do nothing. Within a couple of seconds, you'll see a check mark, and that temperature will get saved. The second option in the menu is the steam enable, and this is you either turn the steam boiler on or off. If you only want to use the coffee function for whatever reason, if you drink only espresso and the occasional cappuccino or Americano, you can turn the steam boiler off. I have it on, of course. I like to drink cappuccinos and lattes, so I'm leaving it on. The third option is the steam temperature, and it works the exact same way as the as the coffee boiler temperature. You can raise it or lower it. I'm actually going to max it out. It maxes out at 132 degrees Celsius. And what you'll see now that I've raised that steam temperature, my boiler gauge here should begin going up. It's going to go close to 2 bars right now. It's already, you can see it's already raising. So hotter temperature inside your steam boiler will lead to, of course, more pressure in your steam boiler. Again, you can adjust this to whatever your preference is. The next option is pre-infusion. And I have pre-infusion set to off. And the reason I have it set to off is because I want to demonstrate the flow control valve. You do have the option here of setting a active and then passive pre-infusion. And what that does, it will turn the pump on for a certain amount of seconds. You set that to whatever you like, let's say 4 seconds. And then the passive is the pause. So let's say you set that to 5 seconds. So it will turn the pump on for 4 seconds, wait for 5, and then turn it back on to begin the extraction. That's also another kind of feature you can use to try and coax the most out of your espresso. The next option is eco mode. I have eco mode off, but if you turn it on, what will happen is the machine, if it's not being used for a certain amount of time, it will go into power savings mode. It'll turn off the heating elements, and of course the machine will go cold. So it'll have to warm back up again. I like to leave it off personally because I drink coffee throughout the entire day. I just like to have my machine ready for when I want a coffee. The next option is pretty cool. It's a cleaning reminder, and it can be set off, or you can set it to remind you to clean your machine after a certain amount of shots, and it's in intervals of 10. So you can go 10, 20, 30, etc. I'm going to set it to, let's say 50. So after I do 50 shots, so that basically the way it counts is you turning the lever up and then turning it down, it will remind me to clean the machine. It's a nice feature to have because sometimes it's hard to tell how much coffee you've really had. And it's a great reminder to remember to back flush your machine, keep it clean. A clean machine makes better tasting coffee. There's also an option called filter reminder, and you can turn this on, and this is by volume. So it's intervals of 5 liters. You can take it from 5 up to, I believe, 200 liters. And this will be a reminder for you to change your in-tank water filter, or if you're using an external filter like a water softener. Although I'll tell you, 200 liters isn't a huge amount for most inline water filters, so I think it's a little bit more of a useful feature if you're using like an in-tank water filter like an Oscar or BWT or something like that. But again, it's a handy tool because it reminds you that, wow, I've used 100 liters or whatever you set it to, it's now time to change my filter. Another really cool feature that the Drive has is the timer mode. So you can actually set a schedule for the machine to turn on and off, which is very useful for conserving energy. I mentioned earlier I like to have my machine ready throughout the day, but that's just throughout the day. At night I'm sleeping, so I don't need to have my machine heating. So what I would do, for example, in my home is I would set this machine to begin heating at let's say 5:30 in the morning, so it's ready at 6, and then I would have it turn off, let's say 8 p.m. And that way the machine is ready throughout the day when I want to use it, but it's not heating overnight when I don't need to use it. That's all programmable. The machine turns itself on and off. It's a very useful feature that we're starting to see in more machines, and I think it's fantastic. You also have the option of changing inside the PID. You would change whether you're using the machine as a pour over, so using the tank, or if you want to plumb it directly into your water mains. If you do plumb it in, you just have to set it, turn tank mode off. I have it on, of course, because I am using the tank right now. You can change your temperature units, and that's basically just changing from Fahrenheit to Celsius. I'm in Canada, so I'm using Celsius. That's what I'm used to. The final option that's inside the menu that I'm going to discuss is the fast heating mode. This is a new feature that Profitec is putting in some of its machines, and basically what it does, it heats up the machine faster than normal. And it does that by putting more power to the heating element, allowing the the machine to overshoot the target temperature, and then you kind of run a flush to cool it down. It's a handy feature if you want to use it. If the machine's been off and you want to drink coffee fairly quick, you can probably get this machine up and going in maybe just a little bit over 10 minutes, which is extraordinarily fast for a machine of this size. If you set your timer, then it's not really that necessary. You would just set the machine to turn on maybe half an hour, 40 minutes before you need it. That way it'll be temperature stable when you want to use it in the morning. Okay, so that was a lot. This machine really is very feature rich. This new PID has really a ton of features that makes this machine, I think, quite desirable and a real leader in its class. Now let's see the drive in action. Let's pull some shots. The first drink that I'm going to make is going to be a double shot of espresso, or 2 espressos actually. I'm going to use the double spout here. Alongside the Profitec Drive, I'm using the Eureka Libra grinder. This is a grind by weight grinder. I have it set to 18 grams, and it will deliver 18 grams into my portafilter. I'm using the Profitec tamping stand. This is a very neat accessory, very useful. This is of course optional, is not included with the machine. But what is included is this tamper that I'm using. This is a stainless steel based tamper. It's quite nice. A lot of manufacturers do not include good tampers, or they include something that's made out of plastic. With Profitec, you have this one and you're ready to make espresso right out of the box. I have my pre-infusion off, and I just want to explain how I'm going to be using the flow control valve. The flow control valve here is all the way closed. So if I turn the pump on, nothing will come out because it's closed. So that flow restrictor is completely closed. When I move the flow control valve, I'm going to start with a quarter turn. So that is just going to give me a slight trickle of water. I'm going to allow the pre-infusion to take place. So what that's going to do, it's going to wet my puck, allow the grinds to swell before being subjected to a higher flow of water. I will mention one thing. Flow control is technically not pressure profiling. The pressure from the pump is static at 9 bars. All we're doing is allowing less water to flow into the group, or we're controlling the flow of water, less or more, or whatever you prefer. But the pressure is still the same. It just takes longer for that pressure to build. If you imagine filling up a cup of water using just like a little needle hole amount of water, it's going to take longer than if you open your tap all the way. That's the same way this flow control works. So it controls the flow of the water, and we use that in order to manipulate the coffee to try and get the best flavor out of it. So again, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to do a quarter turn, then I'm going to go to a half turn, and then I'm going to kind of open it up for my full extraction. So I have my cups in place, and I'm actually just going to turn it right here, about a quarter, and then I'm going to begin my extraction. The PID, of course, also acts as a shot timer, so I'm at about 7 seconds now. I'm still not seeing anything happening on the manometer, so pressure is not raising. I'm going to open it a little bit more. And this is already becoming quite a long extraction. I'm over 20 seconds, but there, my first drop, and now I'm going to open it all the way and allow my extraction to take place. There. That was 41 seconds, which actually is not, it's not too horrible. That would be a long extraction if on a regular machine. It might be a little bit on the long side simply because you might get over extraction. It might mean my grind is a little too fine. But with that long pre-infusion we did, I think it's fine. I am going to give it a taste and let you know what I think. Taste-wise, it's actually quite lovely. This is the Terra Farms Espresso Yellow, a coffee we've been selling since the very beginning. It's a coffee I know very well. It's got a nice nutty sweetness. I think it's actually a really good shot, considering that I was doing all these things, talking and of course extracting at the same time. I think it's a pretty good result. Actually, it's quite good. So the next drink that I'm going to make is a milk-based drink, and what I'm going to do for this, I'm actually going to turn on the pre-infusion. So I'm going to go into my menu here and go to the pre-infusion and turn it on. And then I'm going to make my active pre-infusion 4 seconds and my passive pre-infusion 5 seconds. Now the reason I did this is I'm going to leave the flow control open for this one. So I have a normal flow of water. And the reason I'm doing that is because I like to make my cappuccinos or my lattes by extracting the espresso and foaming at the same time. And I just don't have enough hands to manipulate everything. I can't be working here while foaming. It's just very difficult to do. So if you want to use the flow control option for your cappuccinos, you would have to do your espresso first and then your milk second or what have you. But I'm going to do them at the same time. So I turned on that pre-infusion mode just to show you how that works. I'm going to place my cup right here, give my wand a little purge, and I'm going to start the extraction here, and I'm going to start foaming over here. You see that now the passive pre-infusion is working because it's turned the pump off, and now it's turned it back on, it's extracting once again. And again, the steaming power is great. It's moving the milk very nicely. I'm using also a Profitec branded pitcher, which is a very high quality thick metal pitcher. I really do like it. I'm going to stop the extraction there and stop my milk here. It's already a lot of things to do when you're frothing the milk, watching the timer and kind of course, turning it off on the other side. Trying to use the flow control valve at the same time, I think would be impossible. And there we have it. I have a latte, not very good latte art, but of course not my forte, but I will give this a taste. The taste is fantastic though. As we've seen, the Profitec Drive with its all these amazing new features, its aesthetic improvements, really brings the Profitec dual boiler into the next generation. This machine is very feature-rich and would make a fantastic addition to any home. Any serious coffee enthusiast, I think, would be very well served with this machine. If you have any questions about the Drive or any one of our products, please feel free to reach out to idrinkcoffee.com. We're always here to help. Also, please subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos like this about espresso machines, about coffee machines, coffee grinders, everything to do with coffee. Thanks for watching and have a great day.